This is Bagger Racing League Round 2 Sonoma recap with Tucker Speed and Team Cofer. Is it Team Cofer or Cofer Racing Team?
Hey, you said our last name right, so we'll go with whatever.
Yeah. It is pronounced Cofer, not Coffer to everyone, so just so you know.
Where's them Cofer boys?
Damn cow catchers. So I guess first thing is who won the sticker pack? Who won the best comment?
I don't think we ever picked one.
Okay.
Gee, let me pick one.
Anyone that stuck out?
There was some good ones, but now I can't remember them. I have to go back and look at them. There was a shit ton of them.
There's some ruthless ones.
Not that it counts, but Steve Chamberlain's little reel that he made with the Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah.
That one made me laugh for real.
I told him to be careful, and the fucking first thing he does, he runs her into the mud. He's sitting there just gunning it, spinning the fucking tires, burning the engine out of it. The thing's probably fucked at this point. Go back, burn, Trekkie!
Wasn't it Jordan's brother that did the Photoshop of like the painting?
Oh no, that was Tyler Garrison.
Oh yeah, that was Tyler
Yeah,
Garrison.
that was awesome.
Do you even know what you commented, Carson?
Nope.
The grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
Provide everybody with some entertainment.
Hey, at least yours was like funny. Mine was just me sliding. That's it.
Mine was sliding too. Just all
The
the way
hand
down
up
the hill. Yeah.
in the crowd made it a lot better.
I feel like everybody saw it too.
Yeah. Yeah. Most people didn't even know Carson, right?
Yeah, until I came back.
Yeah. And now because of the powers of Instagram, if you didn't see it at the race, you've seen it now.
Oh yeah, you'll see it tomorrow too.
It makes you wonder if that's going to make people want to race more or less.
Oh yeah, he got up and walked away.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Probably more than.
I mean, I honestly didn't even feel anything after that. Like
Just adrenaline.
just the nicest, smoothest slide. I mean, downhill on the grass, like
You can't do that.
can't beat that.
Pretty comfy.
Technically, those two are the racers this round. So,
I did about a half a lap of actual racing.
it's still racing though.
It's true. No, it was good. I think the track, I liked the track.
It's bumpy.
Bumpy.
Beautiful though, like.
Oh yeah.
And the carousel. I can't even explain how fun the carousel is.
Yeah, I liked the track because of how technical it was. I felt like it was like a rider's track, like, and I felt like my bike did really well in all the technical spots of the track, and that I was super fast in the, in all the corners and the carousel and that back stretch with the S turns. You could definitely tell that track has some age in it.
Oh yeah, it's got some laps around.
All the bumps and transitions from one asphalt to another. But I think that brings out the rider. Like you got to be able to adapt and
Be able to choose different
be able
lines.
to ride. Yeah, find good lines and then like remember those lines. Remember those parts to hit on the track, and that's really kind of like part of what screwed me up when I went down in the race is I didn't like all the way to the inside of the carousel because the bumps were really bad all the way on the
Especially
left
in the middle
on the skirt. So like all through practice and qualifying, I would come into the carousel kind of outside, and then as I come down, there was that black kind of like tar strip at the bottom.
Yeah.
So I would come like outside, and then my line would bring me in between that tar strip and the inside line at the bottom half of the carousel. And so like when I came up over the hill that first lap, I knew that was kind of like my spot, but it kind of sets me up kind of outside. And then I just got in too hot, too fast. And then when my rear brake locked up for that half second, it like threw my concentration in my line, and then I was like,
And then just went off.
I knew I was going to hit the grass at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and right there it's kind of tough because you can't see when you're going up before you drop down the carousel.
It's just
You
blind.
kind of got to know what you got to do before you pop
Yeah.
up over that hill because it's all blind.
Yeah, you got to be set up for the corner before you can even see it.
Yeah.
The other tricky part was turn 7. the next turn after the carousel, and
With the flat?
you drag
The
race.
flat one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know you're wide open throttle, kind of going up the hill, but you can't see the corner.
And then it's just a flat
And my,
turn.
I don't know about you guys, but my braking point was before I could see the corner. So I
Yeah.
really had to like memorize that spot in the track, and there was like some billboards like on the left-hand
Yep.
side that I was kind of using like.
Or
hit
the
that.
tower,
Yeah.
the flagging station.
Mine was like coming up the hill. As soon as you start to crest the hill, that's when I was starting to slow down to make that corner.
Yeah.
But my bike was fourth gear, wide pin till that point, and then I'd let off. you know.
Yeah, yeah, because I know one of my first practice sessions Friday, I blew that corner
Oh, yeah.
because I just held it till I could see the corner. I was
And
like,
by
oh
then
shit,
it's
like
too
I ain't
late.
stopping. And I mean, luckily there's asphalt
Yeah.
all the
Mile.
way past that corner, so if you blow it, you're okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think even Benny blew that corner. Was it in practice?
Yeah, in practice.
In practice, Benny blew it. Came up and he was just sitting there waiting. So it sneaks up on the best
It
of us.
does, you know, and that's what I liked about the track is that like you really had to like focus on hitting certain points and like, you know, and it's really hard in those types of corners where they're blind and you can't see the corner. You really
just
have
gotta
to
trust
like,
yourself.
trust and know that like this is my point, full throttle to this point, and then
Let's see what happens.
you know get on the brakes and get set up or whatever. I like that type of stuff.
It was fun though. Definitely, I think the most fun track we've run, had the chance to ride this year.
Yeah.
So definitely beautiful and a lot of fun.
I mean, I definitely want to go back because I feel like the track beat me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like I want to go back and kind of like get
Redeem.
back, yeah,
Yeah.
redeem myself.
I feel that.
So I, you know, it'd be cool if they do go back. Hopefully they'll go back when it's not so cold.
Yeah.
That was the only thing about the weekend that kind of sucked. Like,
Super cold. I mean, I can still see my breath.
It was like a wet cold too. Like
Yeah.
I just constantly felt like I was in a humidifier. Or
Yeah,
something.
it was droggy.
yeah, I mean, anytime that you're that close to the coast, like you're gonna be all that humidity, you know, and like it might be 50 degrees, but it's still it feels pretty cold, you know.
Oil spill. I guess that's a major subject with this race. I guess.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it sounds like you guys than I did as far as like being out there, like when the oil spill happened or whatever, like more than I did. I never actually hit like a fresh oil spill.
I hit.
They had cleaned up, but you know, multiple times, yeah, it got. And not just like little oil spills in one corner, like
The whole
It
track.
seemed like by the end of the weekend, the whole track had the oil dry all over it.
Yeah. Which I can't tell. Like it was great that they did it, but you could still slide on that.
It was slick. I hit
Yeah.
it.
I thought it was
because-
like gonna be sticky or something, and it just slid just as much as the oil.
Yeah, it was slick. I mean, I know the one session I went out was right after they cleaned it up, and I mean, I followed somebody through it, and they like, as they went through it, it was just like blowing up like dust.
Yeah.
It
And then
was-
I got it in my eyes.
really,
Yeah. Well, I don't have a front fender either.
yeah,
You know, and so it just stuck in my eyes, and I felt like my eyes were like bloodshot.
yeah.
Just trying to get through it all, and just like a constant like dust.
So I know for a while, like, I was avoiding
Certain
those areas because I knew they were slick, but it sucks because like you have to go around them, which is just slowing you down.
Yeah, because like I will give it to him. Like the one guy, he had pretty good lines because, you know,
Oh, yeah,
the
he's
oil
struggling
line
all
was
the
the
way
race
through the
line.
But I was right behind the guy that spilled oil the second time, and it was frustrating because that was supposed to be my hot lap. So I'd done 2 laps before, and I'm like, all right, this is gonna be my hot lap for qualifying. Hauling ass coming around, and then Ian sees the oil before I even see it. I'm not paying attention to the oil. I'm just going to the race line. And right as I see the oil, I had nothing to do. Just locked it up. Didn't even lock up. Just started sliding. And the dude just drove around the track like another lap, full lap.
Well, I was right behind him, and his oil was so hot it was hitting the ground and smoking instantly. Right before that tower, so bottom of the carousel, that hill going up, right there is where I noticed the oil. I was coming down the carousel, I was like, what's all over the track? So I start going up, and the oil is smoking off the track. And I look up, and the flagger, she's not paying attention or anything, so I'm like waving, like, hey, you know, pointing, and she does this. So I'm like, shit. So I take off, and I catch up to that dude, and another rider is riding next to him, and the dude knows something's wrong. He's just putting. He's just putting, like on the race line, just cruising. And another rider's next to him, and he's yelling at him and everything, and the guy just doing this. Like, the other rider's like, get off the track, get off the track. So then I pull up, me and the other rider, and we're like, get off the track. And he finally got off the track, but by then he had oiled the whole entire thing.
By that time, I was laying. My bike was on the trailer by that point.
Yeah. And that one's just the one. I don't
Yeah.
know what the other.
The first one took out, what, 4 or 5 bikes?
Took out Carter.
Carter,
And
Ian.
Patricia. I can't remember. Took out Ian, huh?
Yeah, and then one other dude on a bagger, I think.
I still don't know what the cause of that one was. But I think the FTR was just an oil filter came unspun.
Or
From the gist of it. But
Really?
So, the crash bars on our bikes are a little ugly because I made them on my lunch break one day at my old job. But they've done really well. My crash bar itself has 4 wrecks on it now. And it's not bent at all, and it's saved my bike 4 times now.
wreck proven.
Yeah. Yes, they are crash proven and tested. They add a little bit of weight to your bike, but they're really dope. And future plans, I'm gonna mount an oil cooler on top of them. That way you can get them up out of the way, and if you wreck, it's not gonna rip off your oil cooler and still keep your bike up. So if anyone wants a crash bar, let me know.
You might sell them one day, eventually, maybe.
Yeah. I might sell them one day if I don't keep wrecking and keep needing them. So let me know.
Like if I wanted to just talk about some of the other riders in my class in the pro stock bagger, like, you know, obviously Benny was checked out and nobody was competing with Benny in pro stock. But there was a group of us that were kind of like all, I guess, you know, in a sense battling for second place. You know, there was myself, Steve Chamberlain, Oleg, and then Logan, Wheelie Pig, and Arnie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and we were all, I think all of that bunch of us were all really close to each other in times, and they all kind of went out and battled. And so I'm super bummed that I wasn't able to like kind of
Go out there and
go
see
out
what
there
you
and
did.
battle it up, because I think it really could have been like a good like 5-way battle for the second and third spots. You know, on the podium.
That would have been cool to see.
But I mean, I just think it's cool. I hope that those guys are all going to be there next year for 22. So I'd like to get back out there and battle it with them. You know, where we're all so close in times, it, you know, should make for good racing.
Yeah. I guess in that close quarters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you can reach out in a corner,
Yeah.
like a slower paced corner that you want balls to the walls in, you know, and like see if you can like, I don't know, that's the way I always think about it, like, how many people can I touch?
Yeah.
You know?
And I know, like in my class too, like 2 guys that like I probably want to give shout outs to would be Arnie and Steve. Like
They were bringing
Those
the
guys
heat.
they brought the heat. I would say those 2 guys, like from Salt Lake to Sonoma,
Huge difference.
made huge gains. They
Yeah.
both, you know, Arnie was on a different bike, and then Steve had basically, you know,
Brand new bike.
new motor,
motor,
bunch of,
new
you know,
seat.
new seat, new suspension,
Yeah.
you know, a bunch of stuff. Really stepped up the game, and both of those guys, you know, came prepared and were ready to race. And you know, compared to not that they were bad in Salt Lake, but they were a lot faster in Sonoma, and really got way more competitive. And so, you know, if those guys make more gains for next year, like I'm gonna have to think like, okay, how am I gonna get even faster to kind of keep up with them, because those guys really came prepared, and you know, just super stoked for those 2 guys.
Well, what blows me away is like you and Arnie, like before BRL won, like what, that was your second time on a road course track,
Yeah,
and it was Arnie's first time, I think.
I think Salt Lake might have been his
Yeah,
first
he
time.
took his Dyna out for a new racer school that day.
And raced the bagger. But
Yeah.
just I think it's your guys' your mental attitude, like the way that you guys just go about things. I respect it.
Yeah.
And I admire it. And I wish I had more of that. I get my nerves a lot more, but I like watching you two. I don't really know Arnie all too well, but I like watching him. Just the way that you two prepare yourself, I feel like is kind of common, or with each other. You know what I mean? and you guys just went out there and handled business. And
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah. So I mean, those two guys, like I said, shout out to those two guys for stepping up their game and
they killed it out there.
A
Yeah.
big improvement from the previous race, and hopefully we'll see them back out there next year, and,
Oh, yeah.
and I can get back out there with them.
It was fun watching them all come in to that the flat corner, like behind the garages, just because you could tell how close they were to each other. And
Yeah.
as soon as they could get the bike straight up,
Oh, yeah.
they were going and they were smashing.
They were running into each other like into the corner, so you knew you could get out of it faster.
I think Steve pulled up his front wheel a few times.
Yeah,
just
he did.
getting on it.
And then
It's impressive.
Willie Pig totally just started going sideways.
Yeah, and that bike's fast too.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, so he'll be definitely someone to deal with in 22. And then, if Oleg's back out there on the PM bike, like,
He'll be fast.
those guys are all going to be there. And then who knows who else is going to come out?
Yeah.
Hopefully there's more guys in the class. I mean, yeah, it's going to be harder for me, but I think
I hope it keeps going.
I
I
think
think it'll
it-
be good for
you
the
know,
sport. And
more riders means it's growing and getting stronger,
And it just makes everybody else faster.
makes everybody faster, and it means the sport's going to stick around. We're going to be able to continue to do it. The last thing we want to see is like 3 guys on the grid,
Yeah.
because there probably ain't going to be very many races after that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a full grid is a good thing.
keeps the races coming, and I'm excited to see where all the parts are, what new parts we're going to
Yeah.
get from this.
Well, and I think that's a part of it. Like, I feel like part of our job is to help promote parts, because the parts makers are the ones that are going to be kind of pushing to sell product. Like, obviously nobody can be riding like a full-on race bagger on the street, but you could set up a bike
Street
to handle
version,
good
yeah.
on the
Yeah.
street. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I feel like that's
Well-
kind of an obligation of us.
And that's the cool thing with bagger road racing, is that it does kind of directly, translate over to like the performance hardy market. Even if you're just wanting to build a canyon carver, or a hot rod out on the street, like a lot of those parts are all the same parts. And,
Oh, yeah.
just because you still have lights and a license plate, turn signals, and all that stuff, like you
can't
can
go
still
right.
go out and build performance suspension and build a motor and
Yeah.
nice brakes and all that type of stuff. So it does, and that's the cool thing, is that it drives sales of all these performance parts, and hopefully it's good for everybody all around.
Yeah, I like where it's heading. Because I feel like it was kind of stagnant before,
Yeah.
So I like that it's finally to where
Starting to
it's
take off again.
where it's at.
Yeah.
You can see the potential and see it growing. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good thing.
I think it's cool because, the American V-twin market has needed something like this for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
They never had. Like off-road, you got, supercross or desert racing or whatever. And, sport bike guys have, MotoGP and Moto America and, World Superbike that, kind of drives all this and sells bikes and sells parts, and Harley or the American V-twin people, like, they've had flat track, but it's hard because flat track stuff just isn't really the same as what we're doing here.
Yeah,
it's
it's one bike.
It's a different bike, you know what I mean? So I think this is good for our industry here, like in what I'm doing here, with the Tucker Speed brand. It's great because it's what I do for a living, and I also love racing, so it's kind of like,
It's a win-win.
it's win-win for me.
Hell yeah.
And so I love it, so I'm all in. So I hope that everything continues to grow and get bigger.